This is Two Girls Cinema Club. I'm Ailish.
And I'm Hannah.
And, well, we had a big announcement today. Anna Wintor is stepping down as the head of Vogue.
Well, she's definitely older and should take some time to relax.
I think she's like 75, which I did not realize.
Mm-hmm.
But she just looks so good. But, yeah, I just thought I guess it's one of those things that you just never thought would change, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, she's still going to stay on in some capacity. She just won't be they don't call it editor-in-chief anymore, apparently. I don't remember what they call it, but she's gonna have somebody else take over. So I wonder who that will be, and I wonder if it'll change some of the people that they've had on the cover, which I haven't subscribed to Vogue in quite a while, but it seemed like they were just getting a lot more of, the pop culture people in recent years.
We'll probably make it like Alex Cooper will be in charge of Vogue now. At least some young person.
Oh, that's what Alex Earl stepped away from her Unwell podcast
Yeah,
for.
she sent me taking over Vogue.
I will lose my mind.
But I could totally see them doing something like that, like just having some young person be the face of it.
Right.
Trying to get people back into that type of media.
Well, it is. I mean, I had a Vogue subscription for years, and it's not that it really was more time that I just didn't ever really have the time to like sit down and read the magazine. And I'm like, why am I continuing to pay for this when they just stack up? But it is always fun to see the photo shoots and stuff.
I know, and it used to just be fun to like get a brand new magazine in the mail.
Yeah.
Like that
Just
was
in
such a
general.
treat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or when we'd have like a sleepover and we'd get our magazines and we'd bring them together and look through everything.
I know. And then you'd have to do like the first flip through, like the scan through. Then you'd go back in and read deeper the articles, then go back and look at the pictures again. It was like this ritual thing.
I know. And then you'd trade them.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to talk about stuff. Yeah. Do the quizzes and everything.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Yep. Back before we had cell phones.
No other form of media. But like I liked a magazine. It was nice to have something in your hand to read.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's like, I guess they still do stuff digitally, but I don't know. It just feels different when it's in front of you like that.
I know.
The other big thing that I saw was, I think it's tomorrow or maybe even today, I can't remember, the release of F1. And we saw a beautiful reunion of Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise on one of the premiere red carpets. And I just thought it was really cute. Two movie powerhouses coming together.
Yep.
And Tom just loves the movie theaters so freaking much he can't stay out of them.
Right.
Did you have any other news this week? Or things that you watched or anything?
Oh, I did watch The Iron Claw. I'm gonna probably put that one on the list of never watching again.
Yes.
Because it's too sad.
And I think I brought it up on the pod, I can't remember, but I watched that on the plane and I was fighting for my life.
It is just devastating.
There's no
Like,
other.
nothing else to say, just ooh, I did see that, Kevin, Zac Efron's character, was on an episode of Theo Von. I think it was just in April, and I started listening to it, but I haven't finished it or anything, but I almost didn't even really even wanna listen to it.
I know. I kind of want to put that whole story in my rear view and never think about it ever again.
Like, ugh. Yeah, it was just devastating, but really good. I mean, I would love to see Zac Efron do some more stuff like that. And I know this movie had like a specific look for him, but I would like to see him, I don't even know, just in something good and worth watching again, you know? Not that he hasn't been in some good movies, but I just want to see him elevate.
I know because he does have the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish he would get more opportunity. And I don't know, like maybe he does get the opportunities and he chooses to not do it. I don't know.
I know it's kind of interesting because he almost said like that Disney Channel stigma or like that, you know, boyish, handsome guy versus like, you know, the way Brad Pitt had that as well, but he was able to keep going with the times and like, I don't know, just look older and be able to do more distinguished roles and stuff. And I mean, I hope that Zac Efron also gets that opportunity, but I definitely feel like he had to really fight that Disney heartthrob boy kind of persona. And I almost wonder if that's why he got, or, you know, he had that accident to his jaw. It's like you almost wonder if maybe he was getting a lot of that feedback and then decided to make it look a little bit more older and more masculine instead of so boyish.
Yeah, I mean it's just really hard when you had such a huge franchise like High School Musical.
Mm,
It's hard to break out of that.
it is.
And I mean, even like everybody else from that too, like, I mean, thinking of like Ashley Tisdale, Vanessa Hudgens, I mean, they had some uh, music careers, but it was really just in the Disney vein too. They
Hmm.
didn't really, I mean, I know, what was that one movie that Vanessa Hudgens did where she was that like homeless?
Oh, that like gimme shelter or
Yeah,
something.
which I didn't see it. And I know that that was supposed to be a more like serious dramatic role and stuff, but I don't really think that was a huge takeoff for her either, you know?
No, and I remember watching that way back when it came out, and I don't really even remember what I thought of it. I remember thinking it was like a sad movie, but it was different to see her in that kind of role. And even like her personality now is just so like bubbly and all over
Hmm.
the place. And it's almost like she does do better in that like theater acting.
Yeah, but I mean, I would almost say that she and Ashley Tisdale are basically just influencers now.
Yeah, at this point. And it really seems like Ashley Tisdale leaned a lot into like the mommy stuff and like a
Hmm.
little bit of that wellness brand she has that I think is
Hmm.
at Target.
Yeah, I think it is too. So,
Yeah,
and
which
then
is, and
even
then
I was just gonna say, Corbin Blue and what was the other guy's name? Sharpay's brother,
um
Ryan.
yeah, was it Lucas Gray?
Oh, I think it
Or is that
was.
somebody else?
That sounds right.
Lucas Graybeal or something?
Grable or Gribble or yeah, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't even tell
Yeah,
you
that's who it is.
Did they even, what even happened?
I know, it looks like a lot of maybe it's the Disney stuff and like TV show work.
But not really. Yeah, like nothing else really.
I know, and they were so, speaking of magazines, they were in the magazines all the time. They were
Oh, yeah.
so famous. Like it was just insane.
They literally, you couldn't escape them for 1 second. They were always, and now that's what's just kind of sad. Like they really, and again, maybe like they choose to step
Right.
away from the public eye. I don't know. But if they didn't, it is kind of sad. Like you had such a huge career when you were young and then you just couldn't keep it going.
Mm-hmm. I know, and it's like and it was, they were so young. It was almost like they had the world at their fingertips, and then it just like never really happened. And obviously Zac Efron did some like comedy and
Yeah.
oh, and he did Charlie's St. Cloud, which is,
Oh, yes.
you know, quite the
Iconic role.
yeah, yeah.
And then
But it was
he
like he
did,
was working. It just
oh yeah, because he
he,
also did what was that one with 17 again with
yeah,
uh
Chandler, Matthew
yeah,
Perry,
yes. Um yeah, and
and
then he did the
neighbors,
what?
neighbors.
Oh yeah. And then he did the Ted Bundy thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean
He's
he's
worked. I mean, he's probably worked the most out
yeah.
of everybody.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean Iron Claw, it was very good, but yeah, I will never ever revisit that
And no
movie.
desire. I know, because even when I was done watching it, it was like the next day, I was like, ugh. Like, just in case. I almost kind of wish, though, they could have done like a mini series or something on it, so we could have got the full or more or like the bigger picture.
Yeah. The only thing is I think that their life was just so horribly tragic that maybe we wouldn't have wanted more of the picture.
5 hours.
Yeah. That might have just sent us all over the edge. But I thought it was crazy how they all really transformed for that too.
I know. Yeah, because I forgot Harris Dickinson was in there, and I was like, "Oh, that's who that is." I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah. Yep. Well, that was just a low key film for you to watch on,
I
a
was like, I wanted to
Tuesday,
hurt my feelings, and I succeeded.
especially you having boys.
I know, I was like, just like, yeah, and just even, I do like that they went the angle with like exploring the toxic masculinity and
Yeah.
feeling emotions and you know, so, and even the part at the end where
Oh,
he's like,
that's what broke me the
when his
most.
kid was like, it's like, I'm not supposed to cry. And the kids are like, you could cry. We'll cry with you. Or when the kids were like, we'll be your brothers.
Yeah,
You know, he's
I
like,
know.
I used to be a brother. I was
Yeah,
like,
I know. That was horrible.
and when Jeremy Allen White, after he passed away, and he went and picked up he goes, he must be my little brother or my big brother, Jack. It's like a child. It's like, God.
It was just it
Oh,
was just I mean, like, it makes you just wonder, like, how is a family plagued
I
like
know
that?
it, like it literally does feel like a curse. And then just like when you're looking up other stuff, it's like it kind of went down into their kids even a little bit, which is just tragic.
I
And that
know,
mother, I'm like, oh my gosh, that mother. She's like, I can't put this dress on again. I was like,
I know. It was just It was literally one thing after another. Like, at a
I
certain
know.
point, you're like, "You've got to be kidding me. Like, this cannot keep
Literally.
happening."
No. To have
And
that many kids.
just when things were going well, it was like the
Gone again.
yeah, again, like the Grim Reaper showed up. It was just horrible. Yeah, I did read like their Wikipedia information
Mhm.
and stuff. It was I mean, it is interesting. Obviously for the movie they changed like a few
Right.
things, but that the majority of the story was true, you know?
Mhm.
So, and that's, I mean, not that we're into the wrestling world, but I had never heard of them.
No, me either. Like it wasn't ringing a bell at all.
Mm-mm.
And you just think we'd still be talking about that after all these years, but it's like
Yeah,
we just kind of haven't.
I know, which is odd.
I know. I'm like, who are these people? And then it's like, no, they were like a big deal, but it was
Yeah,
like almost, yeah, it's just never brought up.
yeah, that was the strange part for me, especially, I mean, I feel like I do know quite a bit about, pop culture from multiple decades, and it's like, how has this family never come across us in any way?
Right.
It's just
I know.
weird.
I thought that was kind of crazy too.
But
But anywho,
I don't think I watched anything else. Oh, I
yeah,
finished You.
hmm Did it go out with a bang?
Oh, yes. It's one of those things where it's just frustrating that it kept going, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then it almost seemed, well, I only watched seasons 1 and 2, and then
Well,
I
that's
just
all
kind
you
of
need
would
to
never go
watch.
back to it.
Yeah.
But it's almost like it sounds like they almost went kind of camp with it, but in a bad, not in like I'm still enjoying it camp way.
Yeah, I have to say I was not enjoying it by the end there. I just wanted to finish it just to be like, okay, I did the series, it's over. But it just got so ridiculous. And like it just was unnecessary, And like I snapped you at one point and I'm like, how has Penn Badgley been in two series? Like the two biggest roles he's played in his career have gone completely off the rails at the end. Cause like, we obviously are huge Gossip Girl fans. I'm never going to say like a negative word about that show, but like everybody knows that the ending was kind of not, it didn't meet expectations.
No. Especially the way they delivered it.
Yeah. And like who Gossip Girl is revealed to be doesn't make sense. We all know
Right.
that.
With the whole series.
Yeah. So I'm just now then watching this, I'm just thinking, how, like, what must he feel? Like, there's no way he's reading these scripts and thinking, oh, this this is great.
You
This
know, I
makes
wonder
sense.
what I know, it's like, what do you do at that point? You're like, well, I gotta roll with it.
I guess
Like,
you
how do
just,
you give it your all when you're like, ew?
I know that's the thing. Like and there were definitely people that were his, you know, um, what's the word? Co-stars. And he was out acting them. Like, I do think he is a pretty good actor, but there
Mhm.
were just times where you're like, oh, for the love of God, like, there's no way this is enjoyable for him. But then you see he still is putting forth, like, to make a decent scene.
Like going with it. Yep.
So,
That's another guy. I'd like to see him in something else. I don't know if he can escape both his big characters as well, but I would like to see him do something else. But he just has such that dry way of talking.
I know. And why didn't he ever break into movies?
I don't know, because all I can remember is Easy A, which was that before Gossip Girl?
No, I think that would have been
I'm
during.
pretty sure he was in that, and then he was in that not very good thriller stepfather or something.
So
Your rite of passage horror movie that you have to do.
it's yeah, mandatory. Um of course it's like not loading for me. Suddenly
Oh
I
yeah, he
have.
was in Easy A, the stepfather.
But
Oh,
what
and John
year
Tucker Must Die.
was
Oh, the
was that during Gossip Girl?
it was during Gossip Girl, yeah, because
Okay.
Easy A was 2010 and Gossip Girl started in 2007. Oh, John Tucker Must Die was right before
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl.
Yeah, there's really not
Yeah,
oh,
just
he was
mostly like
in
TV
What I Like
shows.
About You. That must have been a small role.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you remember that show? I liked
I
that.
do. I liked that show. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
he's
really.
just done a little bit.
Yeah, not a lot of films. Certainly not ones that made an impact.
I was just gonna ask when you started, so that was in 2018. That was why does Netflix do that? They drag this is a 4-season show and you dragged it out over 7 years.
Well, and I'll give a little grace, for COVID.
Right.
But at the same time, oh, it actually was 5 seasons.
You was?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, I lost a whole season. Like, fully do not know what was season 3 then. And that was the thing. I mean, if you never come back to this year, 1 and 2 were definitely the best. But in the last like 2 to 3 episodes of this season, they tried to like circle back and bring some other people back from other seasons, and just because so much time has passed, you're kind of like, wait, who are these people? Like, I do
Right.
recognize them, but I don't remember what they had to do with the story, why they're important. It's just been too much time.
I know, and it's just like that is Netflix's MO. Like,
Mhm.
stop doing that. It's crazy. I mean, literally Stranger I mean, we don't have to get into that topic till it actually comes out, but I mean, what has it literally been for 4 seasons?
Like
Right, 4? Am
10,
I wrong again?
10,
It's 5.
10 years.
You mean that is
I
insane.
mean, because think of the freaking kids. Like, they
Yes.
were
We saw them
tiny
when they were
babies.
like 7.
Yeah,
Now they're freaking adults.
2016 is when it came out. So that means
Gosh.
they were filming, like, say, a year before.
Like, all their seasons should have basically been done before COVID.
Yeah, only 5 seasons and almost 10 freaking years.
I just feel like that just makes a cast's careers, like, get so stuck.
Yeah.
And, like, how are they supposed and I'm sure I mean, clearly, now it seems like people do more with their, like, TV show actors and, like, let them do more things where it was, like, the Friends people, they kinda talked about stuff like that, but I don't know, it just seems like at a certain point, you gotta get a hold of these people, like, "You're under contract, let's get these seasons filmed," and then so they can move on with their lives.
Well, and look at with HBO and Euphoria too, same type
Yeah.
of situation. Like, they got derailed with COVID, and then they're like, well, now people's schedules aren't lining up, and it took them forever to get these seasons out anyway. And now it's like, well, what choice do you have other than jumping forward X amount of years, because none of these people are passing as high schoolers anymore.
Right.
You know, like it just is, I don't know. And then I know Millie Bobby Brown appears to have a Netflix deal because of all the
Right.
things that she does exclusively for Netflix. But like the other stars of this show, they don't have that.
No.
And I don't
So
know if
they're
they
just
were
like
offered, but
right. Right.
yeah.
It's just crazy to keep this cast under lock and key for
Yeah.
so long.
I know. And I know that recently I've been seeing, I think Finn Wolfhard is doing music and stuff. But it's just like, why do they even want to be stuck with this character? Like, it's been so long. It's like, okay, let me get back into being 11, you know, like
Right.
wouldn't you just want to move on? Like, they're all, God, they're in their 20s, right?
I know. And then even like the older cast, like Joe Keery and all them,
Yeah.
and Natalia Dyer
Yeah.
and Charlie Heaton and all that. It's like now they're probably pushing 40 at this point.
Well, Joe Keery full on had to make a freaking alias to start releasing music.
Right?
And people didn't know it was him at first. It's like,
I know.
I feel like he had to do that
I know
because
there's no escaping.
I don't know. It's just really an
Okay,
odd.
they're not as old as I thought they were. So they're gonna
How
be
old?
fine. Um,
How old?
33, Joe Keery, Charlie Heaton is 31, and then I stopped looking.
Okay, but so they're, a bit older than us. But when, like, okay, when they
They would have been
started
like
this, they were
20.
like, yeah, 21, say, when they got the role, and now they're 33.
I mean, that's crazy. That is just crazy. They're the same age, or the little kids are now the same age as they were when they
Yeah,
first started.
yeah, and
That's
they were
gotta be freaky.
small children.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't get it at all. Like, the money must be really freaking good
Worth
because,
it, yeah.
I mean, that's just, and I guess that I'm sure when they first, did it, they were like, okay, we're definitely going to do 3 seasons or whatever. But it's not, I highly doubt that they knew, okay, this is the timeline. And even
Right.
like every year, it's like, oh, it was picked up for another one. Like, it wasn't a guarantee that this show was going to be as big as it was.
Right.
So it's not like they could even prepare, like, oh, this is going to be 10 years of my life. Like, they
Right.
never could have thought of that.
No. It's
So,
wild, man.
yeah, I guess that's just the risk you take when you go into any type of thing that can be franchised.
Yep. So, we'll
So that
see.
release date isn't even until toward the end of the year, and it's only
I know.
it's it's only like a handful of episodes too.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I know they do like a little bit longer of episodes, but it's still like, and they filmed it what, last summer?
Yeah, forever ago. It says 4 episodes will be released on November 26th and 3 episodes on Christmas, and then the finale on New Year's Eve. So it's only
Oh, okay.
8 episodes total.
I did see they were doing like a Christmas and a New Year's thing.
Well, I bet we better open those presents quick so we can watch the three 2.5-hour episodes.
Gosh, it's crazy. Now it's almost gotten to the point where now I can watch season 1 with my son because it's been so long and he can watch the kids. It's crazy. Wait, since
Seriously.
it started, I've had 2 children, got married, had 2 children.
I graduated college. I've had 3 different careers.
Right. That's the beginning of Stranger Things.
I
That's
moved
crazy.
to a different state, moved back. Like,
Insane.
literally.
Insane.
Like, wow, what a freaking life. What a life.
Wild.
So I wonder, they must be skipping ahead. I mean, I haven't really read much about this. I don't care that much. I mean, I'll definitely watch it, but I don't care to read any spoilers ahead of
No,
time.
me either. Especially if I've waited this long. Keep waiting.
I don't want to know anything about it.
No.
Oh my god. Yeah, the worst
Anywho.
part about that though was that they killed off some hotties.
Oh, I know, and the devastation I had when Billy died. It's like, how could you?
Why? And didn't is Joseph Quinn, his character, still alive in it, or did he die
Oh
too?
no, I think he died too.
Yeah, I thought so.
Ugh,
So the only
horror.
one we've had is Joe Keery, and he better
Mhm.
not die this last
I know.
season.
They would do that
We
though.
can't take him from us. Anyway,
Man,
well, that was a little tangent, but it had to be said.
I did.
I'm sure come the holiday season, we'll talk about that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Anyway,
Did you watch anything else, or do you want to get into our
no,
films?
that was all I just wanted to I was gonna watch the We Were Liars, which I had read that book
Oh,
like gosh,
yes.
freaking years ago. But then when I looked at it more, it was a mini series, and I was like, oh, which I
Oh,
think will probably do the book more justice, but I wasn't. So then I didn't start it. I'm like, do I want to start? And it said, well, I think it just said season 1 on there just because
it always
there could
does.
be a second. Yeah. And I can't remember how many episodes, but I just wonder if that's any good. I haven't heard like a lot of talk about it, but I was looking forward to just a movie, but just to watch really quick, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
I have
Anywho.
heard just a lot of it being brought up, but I haven't heard
Mhm.
like what
Like what
the
people are
thoughts are.
thinking.
Yeah.
Interesting, but
I wanted to say the other thing, I don't know if you saw it, but your girl, Brooke Schofield, got engaged.
she did, which there's some rumblings about that. Anyway, but I was a little surprised because I don't think they've been together all that long, but
No, I was looking because I don't always look at all of her posts or her stories or anything like that. But I had seen something that she had posted because they were on the canceled international tour. And so I had scrolled through one of her carousels, whenever that was, a few weeks ago. And I saw the guy. I'm like, oh, she must be dating somebody, but like didn't really think anything of it. So when I saw the engagement stuff today, I was like, holy cow. I went back. There's some comments, and I think that they've been dating for less than a year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then there was like a bunch of drama with him and that he I can't remember all of what exactly it was, but that maybe he was dating an underage girl
Oh,
at some point, and then she had like this whole thing where she was like, "No, that's not what it was." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Okay."
but if the rumor's there.
I know. So after that, she didn't really post him anymore, and now just
Mhm.
that recently, she's been posting him again, and now they're engaged.
Interesting. A lot of people in comments were like, I never would have thought you would get engaged first. I thought it would have been
Anna
Tana.
Makoa.
Yeah. Because
Yep.
they've been together for a while, right?
Well, not like super long, maybe like probably I would say maybe around 2 years, but maybe a little
Oh,
less.
but longer than Brooke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if that had anything to do because they're not doing the podcast anymore, right?
Yeah, I think in the fall they said it was gonna be like on break or hiatus or whatever.
So I wonder if that was like kind of planned a little bit with the timing of, I don't know if they're going to have a shorter, long engagement, but they have pretty short two engagement. So you would think they'd have
Yeah.
a quicker wedding too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, just another little bit of news today. Just all these things happening today for no reason on June 26th. Okay, well, do we want to get into our movies?
Sure.
This week, definitely not a downer like last week. Although we did have some engagement with people who really enjoyed Crimes of the Future on our TikTok. We had
Oh,
some comments.
oh, nice. That's a look.
Yeah, so that was nice. Nothing on Threads. Not
Probably
surprisingly.
just bad timing, I would say, as it continued to get worse timing.
I know when I posted it about the movie itself, I was like, um, should
Yikes.
I not?
You're like, oh dear.
I had to be really careful with the pictures I chose.
Yes.
So,
Yikes.
this week we're doing part one of our Wes Anderson collective, I guess you could say. We're watching a ton of his films, and we watched 4 of his movies this week.
Hmm. And so I believe the main one that I have ever seen ever of Wes Anderson movies is that Grand Budapest Hotel. And I only saw it once and I saw it right when you could rent it. So I don't remember a ton about it.
I watched that one and Moonrise Kingdom,
Hmm.
but I believe those are the only movies that I have ever seen of his.
Yes, so I was definitely pleasantly surprised on some of these.
Well, and we have to say, I wouldn't go so far as to say we were full on haters, but we definitely were
Skeptical.
skeptics. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait, I'm actually enjoying these. I mean, he definitely has a very specific style and like the color scheme of at
Yeah.
least 3 of these movies and is very similar, which I don't know. I guess like even though I enjoyed these movies, it is tricky because they were all even though the stories were different, it was still similar, like watching them
Mhm.
visually. And they almost seem like theater sets
Yeah.
almost, which I thought was kind of cool. And the other thing I did like about these, except for Life Aquatic, Um, I could watch them with my kids, like, I mean, some of the stuff was maybe like a hair inappropriate, and then Life Aquatic just had like a little bit more of the violence in there
Mhm.
that I just was like, oops, didn't know that was gonna happen. Not that it's terribly bad or anything, but I did enjoy that it was just like you could watch it with your kids and it wasn't like super graphic with anything really.
No, and even if there were little bits that might have been like a hair inappropriate or whatever, like you're not even like as a kid, you're not even gonna notice that.
No. Yeah, so I
So,
did enjoy that about it. Um, but he definitely or yeah, and then there's like good music and good styling. Like
mhm,
I enjoyed all that and I kind of liked the even though some of this stuff would have like years, it was kind of ambiguous with the years
mhm.
too, which I feel like kind of helped with more of like a timeless look to them, but
Yeah, overall, I enjoyed these first 4 that we watched. Should we start with the, oldest one that we watched, Rushmore? Just go in timeline order?
sure. Yeah, this one I liked the least, but that makes the most sense. And I did think it was interesting that Owen Wilson had his little mitts involved in this.
Yeah, his name popped up a couple times, and I didn't think it would for writing.
I know, and I wonder what is that I guess I wonder what his Wes Anderson's relationship with most of these people that he just rehires continuously.
I know. I wonder that too, like, because with the majority of his films, especially these ones that we watched, it
Mhm.
is pretty much the same people, and then, like, some new ones are added in, but, like,
Mhm.
the core is
It's the
basically
same
Bill
people
Murray. Yeah.
the whole time. I know that was interesting. I just looked this up and it just says they went to college together and became friends,
Oh,
basically.
he and Owen
So
Wilson.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, this one is probably, like I said, my least favorite, but I it was still kind of a funny little and this one didn't have that full color scheme
No.
that the other ones did, so that was interesting, where it almost had, like, a bland color scheme.
Yeah, yeah, because his coloring is usually that, like, yellow
Warm
kind of
yeah, like that really
warm
warm
cast. Yeah, and this one was definitely cooler toned. Um,
kinda
I
looks like my
did
camera the camera of me right now, very
yeah,
cool tone.
yeah. I did like, the kind of fantastical vibe of this movie, which
I
goes
know.
throughout all of his, but just this one with the Jacob Schwartzman's character, the main character Max, like he really is this like overachiever, but also like an underachiever at the same time. Like he's so involved, but he still can't get anything done with school. He ends up getting
I
kicked
know,
out.
which is funny. It's interesting the amount because at first I'm like, "Oh, this movie reminds me of this and that," and I'm like, "Oh, those were probably inspired by"
Yeah, because this
this
came out in
character in this
'98,
story. Mhm. So I was
which
like, because it reminds me a lot of, like, that mid-2000s, like, the 2004 through, like, 11, where we had, like, a lot of those types of stories almost.
yeah. Did you like, I didn't really know much about this movie.
No, I never even heard of it.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Wes Anderson. I
No.
so,
Didn't know it existed at all.
yeah, and obviously, um, you know, the fact that he is wanting to be in a relationship with this teacher
Yeah,
is
that definitely
inappropriate.
I know, like, but yeah, I mean, that was definitely a more of a common theme. That's actually quite a common theme in movies and
Yes,
TV
it is.
shows.
which, the more we hear about it more and more in real life, so it kind of makes us wonder, like, maybe we shouldn't keep making
Keep
films.
glamorizing
Yeah.
this type of stuff.
But this was kind of different because we had Bill Murray, who obviously was a full-grown adult, and then we have Jacob
Mhm.
Schwartzman, who I think he was like 2021 when he made this movie, and he's playing a 16-year-old, and then the teacher is,
Whatever,
old enough
20s,
to be a
30s.
teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're fighting over her. And then when they're like obviously Jacob Schwartzman's character is so adult, like he's very mature in some ways and acts like he's, 35 or whatever. So when he's like interacting with some of these other adults, he's like, "Oh, this is my friend."
I know.
Like, and I thought
Right.
one of the funniest scenes in this whole movie was after what was it? It was after he had was it after one of his plays and he's out to dinner with Bill Murray and the teacher and then Luke Wilson, and she's
Mhm.
obviously like maybe kind of seeing Luke Wilson a little bit, and he just becomes unhinged because he had an alcoholic drink and
I
throws a
know.
huge fit.
I know he was really funny in this. I was dying when we saw the play. When
The
it was
final one.
yes, sorry, the final play where it was just like a full helicopter flying through the air, special effects makeup, guns, like
A
it
freaking
just
flamethrower.
like that was just great. Like the movie was fine as you're watching it. It was silly and stuff, but I love the way I guess I'm learning to love the way that Wes Anderson pulls the story back together in
Yeah,
this like bizarre way. And I just was like dying at this theater production, just thinking about like a high school theater production. And it's like, oh, it all did work out. He's great at everything.
I know.
It-
I was not expecting anything with that play because he's
No,
back
when
at
I
this public school and you're like, oh, it's probably
I know, I'm
not
like,
gonna be
we're gonna
very
have to
good.
see this play. And then I'm like, oh
And
my
the
gosh.
curtains open and I see the landscape and then the helicopter. I was like, oh my
This is
God.
crazy. I know. And the part too where then that like little younger love interest was like, I loved the part where you jumped for hanging or something from the helicopter. And he goes, yeah, that was ad libbed or something.
And when
Gosh,
he
I the whole
actually
movie like
got
that.
hit and he was bleeding too. And all of them
It's,
were like, "Oh my god."
uh,
And he's kinda like, "Keep going."
it was so like that was just so funny and goofy and
I know. It was a
I
really
know
good
it was
way to
just
pull it
silly.
all together at the end.
It was. Yeah, I just really enjoyed that part. Yeah, I mean, it was still pretty solid of a movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a little slow in the middle.
It was. Yeah, I was kind of like, okay, where are we going with this? And
Mhm.
then
But it was good. But especially, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, that was his first, like, bigger
thing.
movie, right? I think.
It might have been. Yeah, because I mean, yeah, he would have been just like, yeah, that in his 20s, early 20s.
Yeah. Um So yeah, I thought that one was fine. And then the next one in order of timeline would be the Royal Tenenbaums, which was in 2001. I think this is probably one of his most famous
Yeah, I was gonna
movies.
say this one gets talked about a lot, like it's
Mhm.
just in pop culture narrative.
And always Halloween costumes and stuff. But
Yep.
I had never seen it.
Me either.
I really liked this one though.
Yeah, I liked this one was fun and I liked that like the story was just so silly.
I know. This is what I think Wes Anderson does do really well, and we've talked about this with other movies too, but just like the cast chemistry, like
Yeah.
he knows how to cast people in these movies that like, and even like, we've got multiple people here that are prominent characters throughout his filmography, but they all still end up vibing really well together, regardless of the other people that are added in. And
Mhm.
this movie I thought was just particularly enjoyable because we got to know about each of the characters, and we had kind of they all had their own little like side quests,
I
and
know.
then but everything was a mess still and just kind of insane. And but you still felt for these really dysfunctional character all these dysfunctional characters in this dysfunctional family.
I know, and I thought it was just kind of cool to explore it, not I mean, in kind of a silly way, because the movie feels silly in a good way, but just, like, you're so close with your siblings when you're younger, and then you just kinda all drift away, or even, like, cousins or family. And then the older you get, you kinda, like, drift away from each other, and
Mhm.
then you're like, "Well, our parents are toxic, so then we don't really wanna be around them as much," and I thought it was just kinda did that really fun.
Yeah, and obviously, like you had said before, visually, like, the styling is so
I know this one
good.
was this one was really good visually. Yeah, I
Mhm.
loved what Gwyneth Paltrow was wearing. I loved just, like, the silliness of their costumes, like, the track
Yeah,
suits and the
Ben Stiller and the boys, yeah.
it's just, like, that's just so silly and fun and, Owen Wilson almost dressing a little
Cowboy. Yeah.
cowboy-esque in a way. Like, that just makes the characters like, I just feel like the styling in these movies just really fell specifically in this one, a character on their own.
Mhm. I was surprised to hear Alec Baldwin being the
I
narrator.
know. I was like, "Where did that come from?" Like, "What is this connection
I
now?"
know, and I kept thinking that we were gonna see him, but we
I
never
know.
did.
Nope, he just was never there.
No, just he does have a good voice though, I will say, so I
I
can
know, especially for, like, a narration, and it
yeah,
almost sounded like it could have been the dad's
yeah.
voice in a way.
Well, speaking of, I mean, I almost had a meltdown while watching this about Gene Hackman, and
I
it just
know.
I thought he was so good in this role, and I can't say that I have seen a ton of Gene Hackman movies. Most of the stuff he did was before our time, but like even in a role like this that is silly, his character still had a lot of serious things that were happening to him, and like
Mhm.
I just thought the way he played Royal Tenenbaum was so amazing. And there were parts where he was being funny, where you did feel empathetic to him, where you were so frustrated with him. Like he just was so good.
I know I really enjoyed his character too and what he brought to it. And it was just kind of weird to go and again, I'm not, I haven't seen all his stuff either, but just to have like the last thing we heard about him was pretty tragic and then
Yeah.
to just see him so lively and dynamic on screen was almost a little like it did jar you a little bit and it was just really depressing to see like what had become, what over 20 years later, what
Mhm.
had become of him when he did so good in this and that character was just so fun and funny and just
I
you
know.
hate him but you love him at the same time. You're like mad at him but then you totally get the like he's just charming.
Yeah, he's so charismatic, and
Mhm.
he just the comedic timing in these movies in general are really good too, and like the way and it that does have a lot to do with the writing, but the delivery from the actors is really important. And I thought that
Yeah.
Gene Hackman just delivered it so well every time.
Mhm. He really did. It he just did so good. And just even his chemistry with Ian oh,
Angelica
you remember
Houston.
yes. His, I was gonna call her Angela. I'm like, "That's not right." She just their chemistry and everything was so
Mhm.
good too, and you could just tell that they like, I believed their love story
Me
from
too.
before, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was sad, and from when they filmed it to now, it was over 20 years, but and a lot can change in that amount of time. Like, that's a long time, but it was just really, really jarring and heartbreaking, like you said, to know what his end was and how that was such a shocking and tragic thing, and then to see him here, and it didn't look like it was over 20 years ago. It
No.
really felt like, oh, that could have been yesterday. Like, it
Mhm.
I don't know, but yeah, it was just sad. And it makes I mean, that in general, like, makes me sad, and I can't even think about it because, like, you'd be sad every second. But, when you see people in movies or shows and stuff, because those things are eternal, and obviously people are not. So when you
Mm,
see that stuff and then you're like, "Oh, they're not with us anymore, but look how great they were on screen." Like, it really
I
just, like,
know.
it hits you.
It does, and just to have, yeah, that time capsule of somebody, like, I just think
Mhm.
that would almost be really cool to have something of your family member like that, and for them to be, like, encased in this really cool even though they're not themselves
Right.
technically, but just to see them doing their mannerisms and everything.
Well, luckily for our families,
We'll have
they'll have
plenty of our voice.
some videos, a lot of voice, 118 episodes or so.
Yes.
If they miss us, they can go back and listen. Um, but yeah, that was it was just sad. But everybody else in this movie was so good. Obviously Gwyneth Paltrow looks fantastic in this. I have always thought that Luke and Owen Wilson were so attractive, and I thought that Luke Wilson looked great with the long hair, and then when he shaved it, I'm like, oh, anyway.
I know, and normally I prefer longer hair, but when he shaved, it was almost like I felt like a grandma. When you back and I could see your pretty face.
I
That's what I
know.
felt. I was like, "Oh, good
I
one."
know.
But,
Yeah.
I thought that was cool too to see them acting together, even though they weren't didn't have, like, a ton of scenes together, but just to see them interacting was really fun.
Yeah, it was.
And the fact that they weren't really plain brothers either was kind
Right.
of fun.
Well, they they were rivals in a way, like, they both
Bonding after
wanted
the
the
same
same girl, which was weird. Again, like what we just said with Rushmore, the student teacher thing, and
change.
then
I know,
with this is siblings, but they're technically not
technically
related.
not.
Like, weird.
That would because even when we saw them, like, when they were younger, it seemed like they had a pretty close relationship, so that would be, like, a really because it's like it's not like they have, like, the same dad or same mom together, but they're, like, just fully not blood related at all, like, I think that would be kind of a and to be about the same age, like,
Yeah.
that would be very confusing, but to then think about it as an adult. It's a little wild, and I'm glad that they chose not to pursue it.
Yeah, they were
Like,
like, we're gonna have to do this under the cover of night, basically. Like, we can't
right.
ever be really together. But then,
Mhm.
he he has what was his character's name? I can't remember. Richie has the conversation with his dad, and his dad's like, you know, who cares? Like, go
Right.
for it. Like, so that was just kind of different.
It's kind of weird to talk about. Yeah, it's like weird to talk about and kind of I don't know, but I also feel like that gave this story a little bit more nuance.
Yeah, I mean, when
So
you're
it's kind of
watching
interesting.
and when you're watching it, you're not so disgusted by it. You know,
I know,
it
and I
was
just think in 2025 eyes, it's so hard to like sometimes I do have to like almost talk myself into being like, it's just a movie.
yeah,
It's
right.
funny, it's not that big of a deal. Nothing insane is happening during with this, but it is so hard to like take yourself out of that sometimes when you're like watching something and you have to basically rewire your brain again to like accept it, but then it's also something that shouldn't be accepted. So it's like just a really confusing thing.
And they did have, a good little chemistry too, so that
I
made
know.
it even more salacious.
I know, right?
But, yeah, I
And
mean,
it
I
was like too, not to keep defending it. It was he was like, no, like I'm in love with her. Like it wasn't like
yeah,
he just wanted to
he's like, "I've
hook up.
always been in love with her," yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why it was funny when she got married. Like, the whole
Hmm.
thing, there were so many different plot points here, but he was this, big tennis player. He choked in this match, and then that destroyed his career. And he pretty much choked because she had just gotten married to this other guy. And then, then he was out on a freaking ship wherever. And then she was never faithful to her husband, which is Bill Murray, and then starts hooking up with his like really close friend.
I know.
I did think the other part that was funny was when Bill Murray's character and then Luke Wilson's character, they kind of had the little private investigator checking up on Margot, and they get the file and they're like, okay, these are all the times she was unfaithful, every age and where it was.
I was like,
That was
oh, I know. And I loved when it did the montage of it too. It's like, oh my gosh.
yeah, that was
And then
funny.
they're like, and then instead they're like, and how long have you been smoking?
Yeah.
You're like, you've been smoking? It's like they know she's like doing all this other bad stuff, but
I know. Yeah, it was funny. But that's what I think is compelling, like, then with the, like, Ben Stiller's character, obviously he's completely unhinged by grief, and
mhm,
it's so sad, everything with his wife, how she passed and stuff, like, but then
mhm.
how he's acting and how he has these 2 kids that he's trying to make his little mini me's, like, that's so funny, but then
It
there's the
is.
like, depth to it where we
Mhm,
are addressing some, like, complex issues and feelings, even though it's just being addressed in a non-traditional way.
mhm. Which I think was just that's what made this movie so enjoyable. It's like, yeah, you could watch something like The Family Stone or
Mhm.
I don't even know, something a little more heavier toned. And this had those heavy tones, but it also had those silly parts. And that's what happens in real life. Like sometimes something happens and you're just like laughing because you're like, oh, it can't get any worse. And
I
it's just,
know.
there are those comical moments in life, even when things are really intense. And I just think, I don't know, as a story writer, director, and all that. It's kind of cool to see it like that. I don't know. It's just really interesting. I just feel like he does that familial, good
Dynamic.
at writing that
Yeah.
familial relationships like that,
Well, because
but
I
still
think it
making it feel like I'm watching a film, which I feel like
yeah.
that's what I really liked about these movies too. I'm like, oh, I'm watching a film.
Well, because sometimes you want, like, I think with the Family Stone, just because you brought that up, like, I do
Mhm.
like that movie. And there's definitely some funny parts in there
Right.
too. But it does, even though some of the things that happen in that are kind of like a little bit outside of the realm, or it's like, oh, all these things had to happen, it's like,
Right.
it still kind of feels like, oh, this is real,
Right.
versus with like this, yes, all these things, well, not all of them, but yes, these things could happen, and they maybe do happen in some families, but just the way that everything is happening, like how it's being gone about, and the fact that they are like this really wealthy family, and they all just like don't seem to have to really worry about
No.
like anything really, like
Mhm.
that makes it feel just like enough outside the realm of possibility where like you can just fully like let go and just enjoy it for what it is.
Right, it's like you can accept that, "Oh, yeah, this would probably be what these" like, it almost gives it, so why are these people just not really doing anything? And it gives you that reason, and then
Yeah,
you can accept that as reason. We're not trying to play off that, anything like, "Oh, they're a barista and have this big, beautiful
right.
apartment," or anything. We're literally giving you the reason, and we can just sit here and enjoy that that's why they're all doing whatever they feel like it, basically.
Well, because they feel like real characters too,
They do.
and then like they don't need to feel like real people to me for me to enjoy this movie. They can be like real live people on my screen, but they are a
Mhm.
character. Like it
Yeah.
almost is kind of like if you took like an animated movie, just the way that everything in the film like always looks so perfect, or even when somebody like gets hurt or they have that car accident, it's
Mhm.
like everything's still worked out so cinematically. It's
Mhm.
almost like an animated movie, but it's real. And I don't know, that just makes it just really enjoyable to watch. I don't know. Like I'm invested in the characters, but not in the way that I am invested in them as though they're my sister, or my dad, or, whatever.
Mhm. And I also feel like not even in just this one, but in it's like I know like I know I'm looking at Ben Stiller, I know I'm looking at Gwyneth Paltrow, but I was able to take myself out of that also.
Me
Which
too,
I can't
because
always do with certain movies. It's like I know this is Jennifer Lawrence, I'm not, but with these ones I was like, I know it's them, but I know they're their character too.
well, especially since we've seen, like, we are just watching this movie for the first time, and we've seen Ben Stiller in all these other really funny movies. We see where
Mhm.
Gwyneth Paltrow is now, and it would seemingly be difficult to take them out of who they are as real people or what other movies they've done. But however things are written and just created with these movies, like I don't have any problem with it at all. Like I'm just believing what's in front of me.
Yep.
I'm just thinking of like when you mentioned things that would happen in real life that are like funny
Mhm.
moments when something's actually really sad, when they're at the graveyard and they're visiting Royal Tenenbaums' mom, and then Ben Stiller's like, all right, well, we're gonna go see, his wife, and then Gene Hackman's like, oh, I forgot we had another body buried here. It's
I
like
know.
so insensitive, but like
Just
that really could, like you could
be
see it.
like that.
Yeah.
I know. No, he definitely had so many funny moments. And even when he was like jealous of his ex-wife's
Yeah.
news. In that just that whole scene that we kind of like get introduced to everybody when he's like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my god." And she's like genuinely like, "Oh my gosh," and he's like, "No, I'm not dying." And she's like, "Are you or aren't you?" He's like, "I am." It's just like it's just such a good just in her emotion that came through because it's like, everybody's mad at this guy. They're so upset at him. And then he comes in with that. And then she just like is overwhelmed with all these different emotions. And then he's like,
I
no, I'm not
know.
dying. No, I'm dying. No, I'm not dying.
I know. Like,
This is so good.
it was good. But then he kind of wins everybody over, or at least starts to at the end,
I
which
know,
is
cause see, cause it did just work. It's like at the end of the day, that's still their parent, their dad,
mhm.
and then when he kind of lets her go be with the other guy and they kind of all get along, that was pretty cool.
Or when he has to become an elevator operator.
Or what was that really funny part? Oh, I wish I could remember what the line was, but it was after the like priest or reverend or whatever he was got knocked all the way down the stairs, and they said something so funny about it later. It just
Oh,
was
I
so
can't remember either.
funny there, but oh man, that
There
was
were
just so
so
fun.
many good lines.
Yeah,
That's
I would
one I
definitely
would
say. Oh, I was just gonna say this one was definitely the funniest. I
yeah.
think like I laughed the most during this one.
And I think out of well, I would rewatch another one. But this would probably be like the first one I would want to rewatch out of the
Yeah,
4.
just like aesthetically, I feel like it'd
Mhm.
be really fun to watch even in the fall time because
Mhm.
some of their clothes are like, I don't know, like aesthetically, I would like to watch this one the most, but story-wise, there's one other one that I think I like just a hair more than this one.
Yeah. This
But
one almost feels like a comfort movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna pop this one on.
Yeah, like I'm feeling a little sad, I'm gonna put it on.
Mhm.
Well, the next one in our timeline is The Life Aquatic. I actually like didn't enjoy this one that much.
This one, I know and like I had said earlier, this one was definitely the most violent.
Yeah.
When I say violent, it's very theatrical, but it was like a little more gory, more actiony, kind of. Yeah, this one was okay. Like this one is mid, but I really loved the boat. Like when we were on the boat and the way they would go, like that's when this one I really felt like a play because it was like sometimes you would go up and it'd just be half of it,
Mhm.
half the boat, and then you'd see them go up the different levels of the boat. I thought that was really fun. I thought all the visuals of the aquatic life was really fun. It was like the fish swimming around and then the dolphins with cameras on
I
their
know.
bodies. It's hilarious.
Well, just how
Um,
they didn't even look real, like,
no,
and then
I know it was so all of it was so clearly like even when the summer, like at the end and stuff, when they're like down in the submarine and there's like a 50 people in this just dome submarine. And then just like the way they would move around and like it
I
was
know.
just so obvious in that way that it was fake that I just kind of loved that about this movie, just that it was so silly like that. And and even when the big reveal of the shark at the end, where it was just like this leopard printed,
I
like
know.
it was so crazy, but it was also, I mean, not to just get into the end right away, but that's what I'm just enjoying about these movies is the way it wraps it up in the end, where it was like,
Yeah.
no, they didn't kill the shark after they got sidetracked 36 different times trying to get this revenge from this shark. And then not killing it at the end, I thought was really kind of a fun little poetic cool thing. But yeah, so visually, I liked the way this movie looked. I thought that was fun. I loved, again, the styling with like their suits and the
Mhm.
orange hats. I just really enjoyed that. But the actual story I thought was really slow getting into in the beginning. I think there was a lot of fun moments, and I thought it was funny when they would get sidetracked and over the top, and the fact that Owen Wilson at first was just like a sound operator guy. He's like, "You're coming with us."
Yeah.
Um, but
I
anyway.
liked the part in here too. I think it was when was it when they were, hijacked on the boat that there was the color change?
Yeah, yes, that was fun.
That was interesting. It was almost like, "Okay, now the movie's starting. This is Wes Anderson now," you know?
Yes. And
Um,
this yeah, and that whole scene too, like those action scenes, and then out of nowhere, they're like, "Please don't," because of course Bill Murray's this insane person to be around. He's like, "What are you gonna do?" And then he just like pulls out and like fights everybody in this like underwear
somehow
and a
wins.
robe.
Yeah,
What was that?
somehow wins.
Yeah, it's just like it was so silly, funny, but
Yeah, I agree, like, visually, I did like it. It was just the story for me that I
yeah.
just had a hard time with. I thought Angelica Houston looked absolutely
I know.
unbelievable here.
My gosh, I loved that she had, like, just, like, that little touch of her having, like, the blue aqua hair
Mhm.
was just so like, I just loved that.
It
Like, it
just
was just amazing.
it was, like, annoying me because the way that this and I don't know, maybe I'm just, like, thinking back on the way things were filmed and this is 20 years ago and you're like, "Oh, it probably doesn't look that good." But, like, it does still look good. Like, we did
Mhm,
have, technology to make things really visually great. Um,
mhm,
but I think for me, like, when I see her in it, I'm like, "Oh, again, that was what, like 5 years ago?" No, it was 21 years ago. This is put out in
mhm,
2004. And so then when I'm looking up Angelica Houston now, obviously now she's 21 years older. So many
mhm.
people are like, "What happened to her?" I'm like, God, I don't know. She aged 20 years." Like,
Like a normal person
yeah, like,
does.
what, 70 something? Like, give her some slack here. Like, she didn't want to get a bunch of work done to her face, and I don't blame her,
Mhm,
but, like, I mean, here, even I think she was in her, like, maybe mid-50s here. She looks
mhm.
unbelievable, like, her face, her skin, like, everything. She looks so good.
I know, she's just a goddess on our screen. Like, I
I
just
know.
enjoyed seeing her and her styling, and it was just
And I thought that her and Bill Murray had like their chemistry in this wasn't one that was supposed to be like super romantic and stuff, but
right.
like just them as two people sharing the screen, I thought they had good chemistry in that way.
I thought so too. The only I didn't love like, first of all, Kate Blanchett looked
Mhm.
gorgeous in this movie. I actually didn't think she like, I didn't love her character with the other 2 characters.
Me either. I almost didn't really feel like she added a lot in my opinion. I
No, like,
know
it
that
was right, like, it was funny that she was pregnant and, like, these 2 guys are a father and a son are actively pursuing her, like,
yeah.
that's funny, but I just kinda would've rather did without or even had her, but she was just, like, a crew member, there wasn't this, like, super romantic situation happening.
Yeah, like I don't know, that didn't really do anything for me, and even when, like, she and Owen Wilson's character, did have their little romance, and then, spoiler, unfortunately, he does perish. Um,
Which was I d I did not love that part of this either.
I didn't expect it.
No, I was like, "Are you joking?" Because it was like they were just starting to, like, rebuild.
Yeah.
I don't know,
So,
I didn't think that added anything.
was he actually his son or
That's what I
not?
could not figure out. Because at first they were almost doing, like, a bit, like, "Well, what
Yeah.
if I called you
Yeah.
dad?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No, that's too specific." Yeah, I could never figure that out either. Like, I don't know if that actually was true or
No,
not.
because then later Angelica Houston was like, well, Steve shoots blanks, so it's impossible. And you're like, well, is that
So
true?
what's going on?
Or
Right? Or is that also a
yeah.
thing? Yeah, I didn't quite understand that.
But this one just it just wasn't my favorite. I felt like the whole beginning part kind of went on a bit too long. I think this one is the longest out of the 4 that we
Yeah,
watched.
I felt the time on this one a
Mhm.
lot. Like, this one really felt like 2 hours, which
Yeah,
isn't
it
even
really
super long anyway.
no, but it did feel that way. I liked Jeff Goldblum's character in here. I
Yeah.
thought that was
It
funny,
was
and they were kinda, like, competing a little bit, like, that was I liked that. So there were definitely parts that I enjoyed. It still was an enjoyable movie, but just overall, like, I would for me, like, this one and Rushmore were, like, my bottom 2.
yeah.
So that brings us to our final film, and that is the Darjeeling Limited, which I had not seen this movie, but I had seen
Yeah.
like enough clips of it.
Okay, I hadn't seen clips of this, but I feel like this is another one that was like I just remember when this one came out and all the, like, chatter around it.
Mhm.
I really
Um,
liked this movie.
Me too. I loved it. This was 2007. And we have like just great casting here too
I
with
know
Owen
that
Wilson, Adrian
it was
Brody, and Jason Schwartzman as brothers.
I know the way I believed all of like, they were so believable as brothers, the dynamic there was so good, they all had, like you could like, it just felt like they grew up in the same household,
Yeah.
and it was just kinda cool, and then just, like, that whole storyline of them having this strained relationship with their mother
Mhm.
was so interesting, and just even seeing Adrian Brody and Owen Wilson in these really more subdued characters was kinda interesting too. Mhm.
I thought Adrian Brody was amazing in this
He
movie.
really was, and again, it was like, I wasn't even looking at I was not thinking this is Adrian Brody. Like, I
Yeah,
just felt like I was looking at 3 brothers
right.
going
And even
take this
just
trip to see their mother, basically.
yeah, and like you said how they grew up in the same household, it literally was like how I'm assuming I don't know if it ever said, but that Owen Wilson is the older one.
Mhm.
And then with the 2 other brothers, like, they would kinda confide in each other and they'd be like, "Oh, but don't tell Francis." And
Mhm.
then each of them would go and tell Francis, and then Francis would be like, "Why doesn't anybody tell me this?" And, like, that is such a real sibling dynamic, I think.
Mhm.
Um, and I just it's like, I don't know, you just really felt and then when you this is skipping ahead, but once we do get to where they see mom, you see this part where well, earlier, like, Owen Wilson had ordered them food dinner, and they're like, "Why are you
Mhm.
ordering for us? Like, that's unnecessary." And then you see later that that's exactly what the mom would do for all of them, and you're
Mhm.
oh my god, like, look at these familial things.
I know, it was so good. Yeah, their entire dynamic together was just so good. Like, I just loved watching it.
And, talk about visually, like, this was just so beautiful.
Gorgeous. I know, just gorgeous. I mean, every side character was styled to perfect. I mean, anytime you there were sitting in a restaurant or on the train and there's other characters, I mean, everybody just looked like they had a story. Like, it
I
was
know.
just
I
so
think
thoughtful.
that's just what Wes Anderson does really well is creating a full world and creating
Yes.
these like, he's the type of person, like writer, director that I would expect if you went on to be like a background character or somebody who had like one line, he would hand
Yeah,
you,
like you're
"This
getting
is your
taught.
story."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even when there was that time where they were all sitting at a table and there was somebody with like the paper up
Yeah.
and like kind of look around, like I knew his story
Yeah,
without
I know.
even like it was just incredible. And I did want to point out the luggage that these
Yes.
men were carrying. I was like, that is a character in its own. So beautiful. I
Well,
want the
it's
luggage.
funny that you bring it up, Hannah, because the luggage can be yours. It was just
For a
put out
mirror.
today that Pharrell is doing a collection, because he's with Louis Vuitton, and he is doing luggage that is inspired by this film. So you actually can purchase it.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
Well, I loved how I mean, again, talk about like a complex story wrapped up in this funny, plot line. But like
Right.
the whole thing we're watching, there's the dad passed away, there's this strained relationship with mom, we see they have all this luggage, and at first you're like, is it all their luggage? Oh no, it's
Hmm.
dad's luggage, and they actually have this emotional attachment to this luggage, and they it was really
Mhm.
important for them to carry this all around, and they numerous times they had to get like different vehicles or different people to come with them to help transport this luggage. And then at the end, they're like, we're not going to make our train. And they decide we have to let go of the luggage. And it was
I
kind of this
know.
beautiful metaphor.
I know, we had to, like and when we got to actually see that, because the one brother is writing a short story and they're like, "Oh," he's like, "No, this is fiction." And then when we actually get to see that just silly but heartbreaking moment where they're trying to get the dad's car and, like, that actual part of the short story was just
Well,
like, oh,
first of all, that was so funny how they're like, wow, you really nailed that. That's exactly what he was doing. This is fiction. This is that was
these are
so
fictional
funny.
people.
But I
I
thought
know.
it was so beautiful how they introduced that. We kind of go on this side quest and they end up in this tiny village. And unfortunately, they tried to save these young boys from this disaster in the river, and the one ends up passing away, and they end up getting invited to stay for his funeral. And then,
Mhm.
like, we see this stunning
I
visual
know,
of
it
them
really
walking out of
was.
the tent going through. I mean, I just was like, this how can you not have an appreciation for film? With just
I
this just show
know.
somebody that one scene.
It
Like,
was, I mean, this movie was just film. I don't know,
I
like,
know.
every scene that was filmed, every moment we saw was so important to the
I know.
story, it was so visually incredible. Just the way it would show them, riding away and like the scooters, and all
Yeah.
three of them sitting on it just
Yeah.
all of it, just when they would come in frame and out of frame and
Yeah.
the way the camera would go around when they were in like the train and it was again kind of like the boat in Life Aquatic, where it was like that half thing, like a set, and it just was so good.
Everything is so meaningful, like it's
I
meaningful.
know.
It's in there for a reason. And so they're going through this like beginning of the funeral, and they get into one of those little cars, and then we see all of a sudden we're transported back to the funeral, their dad,
Yes.
which is, the story that Jacob Schwartzman's character is kind of depicting. And you're like, "Whoa." Like, you don't
I know,
expect.
so good. No, and because it was like, because the whole time Owen Wilson is bandaged
Yeah,
up, And that was, like, not there, and it took me a minute to be like, I'm like, "Oh, we're, like, in the future or something." I'm like, "Oh, no, we're in the
We're in the
past." Like,
past. No, just so well done, like, that juxtaposition was so well done, and then it also, like, helped you understand more about these characters,
Mhm,
and I mean, that happened we were, I would say, like, over halfway through the film by the time we got to that, and you're like,
mhm,
"Wow," like, that added even more depth to these brothers, and now I'm understanding, and like you see with Owen Wilson's Francis, like he gets the call that their mother didn't show up and he chooses not to tell the brothers. And it's like,
mhm.
wow, like I don't know, you're just really like you just understand their relationship a lot more just from that one flashback. And it's really important for the film.
It is. Yeah, it was awesome. I don't know,
And
and even with
chaotic
the
too.
what?
That part, the flashback is chaotic and funny too, you
I
know?
know, where it's, like, silly, but then you're like, "Oh, wait, this is the
Yeah.
the sad part." I know, and that was so cool, and even the woman that plays their mother, I mean, I believed that that was their mother, and just even her being there at this convent thing, and
Well,
they're
that
like,
was in Angelica
"Seriously?"
Houston too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Well, I totally believed that that was their
their
mother.
mom, yeah, and just how chaotic she was too, like, and just so it's even though we never even saw the dad one time, like, you can by seeing these brothers, by seeing the mother, you're like, "Oh, I understand exactly who he is and how he acted,"
Yes.
because you can see where like, little by little, you're understanding where they get their little traits from.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then when they wake up and they're like, "She's gone," you're like, "Of course she's gone."
She's gone. I know, and you're like, the part of you is hoping that she'll still be there along with the brothers, and she just fully pieces out. And then they're like, yeah, she does that sometimes, like the other people at the convent or
Mhm.
whatever. It's like, oh, hurts my heart.
When you mentioned, at the beginning of our conversation about these movies, just the music that is used in
Hmm.
this too, I loved in this portion of the film with the mother where they're like, "Let's just not say anything, you know, we can communicate not using words." And then that, Rolling Stones song plays, "Play with Fire," and I love that song, first of all, I think it's so haunting, but then like, having that be the background to this, like, really powerful moment of them just
I
all
know.
staring at each other, you're like, "Oh my god." Like, it just
I
worked.
know. It really did. I mean, there's so many moments in these movies where it's just like the music. I will say this one specifically, I thought the music was just like spot on. Like, I don't
Mhm,
know, just so beautiful. Fits so well with the movie. Just so much thought put into that.
mhm. Yeah, I really, really liked this movie. I think what you said earlier with like this one and the Royal Tenenbaums, like this one would be one that 100% I would put this on again and just even if it was just like in the background, like just to
Hmm.
see little bits of it, it's so visually appealing that you want to watch it over and over again.
I know.
There was I was trying to look because there is oh, okay. I don't think this is on our list for next week. No, it's not, but there's a like short um about Jacob Schwartzman's character and then Natalie Portman who plays his ex-girlfriend. There's a
Mhm.
short story or short film, about them at the hotel where he has his robe from.
Oh.
and it's 13 minutes long, and I don't know where you can even watch it. But that is a prequel to Darjeeling.
Oh, that's
It's set in a
interesting.
Parisian hotel 2 weeks before the brothers' train journey.
Oh,
So I didn't know that existed until I was watching the movie and like Googling some stuff and I saw it.
interesting.
But it doesn't even say like where I can watch it, so I'm not even sure.
Probably don't have access to it.
Probably not. That's usually how it goes. Oh, no, it says currently not available to stream. So,
Of course not.
guess we'll never see it. Um, but yeah, anyway, just great movie, great movie. And then, of course, at the end, too, the brothers have come together and we see Owen Wilson finally take off his bandages, and you're like, oh God, like this doesn't look
I know,
real.
I was literally that scene. I'm like, I'd be wrapped till the end of days if I
Oh,
had those types
for
of injuries.
second, I was like, he's not gonna have any injuries.
I
Like,
know, right? It was all a farce.
but it was not.
No.
So yeah, I thought it was just great. They just had such great chemistry.
Oh,
Um,
incredible chemistry.
yeah, it was just they were so freaking good. All of them
They
together
were
were so good.
like, dang.
So, we're going there's a lot of movies that we could watch for Wes Anderson, obviously, but for next week we're going to do a part 2 and we're going to go into some of his short films. Um,
Hmm.
and then we're going to also do Isle of Dogs, which is different from the shorts, obviously, because this one uh is it? It's stop motion, this one
I
is.
believe so.
Yeah, so
Um,
completely different look.
I know, and then he has also the Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is also streaming, which I was gonna watch this week, but then I just didn't.
Now, that one I think well, I mean, it's a family movie, so I would assume that that is
Yeah,
something.
that's what I know. I was gonna watch it and like with the kids,
Oh, the
but
story is by Roald Dahl.
oh yeah, because aren't didn't he Wes Anderson do a couple of the Roald Dahl situations, weren't there? Thought we were
I
looking
think
that up.
I don't know. I thought now that you say it, I thought that maybe he was involved, but yeah, I don't know. I might be misremembering too.
Oh yeah, because it was the collection was The Swan, The Rat Catcher, and Poison, and The Wonderful World of Henry Sugar.
Yeah.
Roald Dahl stories. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, those are all his?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're
Well, I didn't
based
realize
on.
that.
Yeah, I thought that's what we were talking about. I think we were just talking. I don't think it was on the podcast, but we when we were talking,
Yeah.
I
Just
thought that
normally
was
as
the whole thing.
speaking to each other. Yeah, so we're gonna do all those shorts and then Isle of Dogs. I mean, there, like we said, Grand Budapest Hotel, we've seen that one. Asteroid City was on our list, but we're unable to watch it now, which I am bummed about that one. That one came out just a couple years ago, so that would have been fun to
I
watch.
know. Yeah. Yeah. Typical with streaming.
I know. It'll
But
be
maybe
here.
we'll be able to get access to them another time, and then we can do a part 3.
Yeah, and maybe by the time the Phoenician Scheme is on streaming, then Asteroid City and stuff will be on streaming too. So
I know, I gotta say, we were a little hatery on that, but
I
now I am
know.
actually kind of interested in it. Although I do think with the two movies that we liked specifically the most. I do think he does create magic, but then some stuff, like Life Aquatic, it was like, yes, there was a lot that I liked about it, but I don't think it was as magical as the other two movies. So it's like
Yeah.
that. This new one, I mean, I guess it depends on how many. And then once next week we watch the shorts and the other
Mhm.
ones, it's like how much can you take in of the same style?
Well, and that's the thing too, like from watching, you said you watched Grand Budapest, right?
Mhm.
Okay, but you didn't watch Moonrise Kingdom.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, both of those movies, like, yeah, they are different stories, but it is the same vibe. Like, I would put that totally in the same just feeling of Royal Tenenbaums and Darjeeling. Like, I feel like they're definitely in the same vein. And I think that's where kind of when we had four about Wes Anderson's movies, where they're kind of all very similar. Like that's where I feel like it's not one that I'm like I still enjoy it, but like with the
Right.
Phoenician Scheme, I'm not such a Wes Anderson head that I'm running to the theater to see that.
Right. Right. I
So,
know it's just kind of like a tricky, like it's probably, I don't know. I guess I could just see it going either way, like really liking it or not liking it.
well,
Like I
and
do.
yeah, but like I do also really respect him as a filmmaker and a writer and stuff. Like
Right.
he clearly
Like I
has.
think he's very thoughtful.
Yeah, and he has a vision and he's really good at executing those visions and stuff. So you
Hmm.
can't say that he's not talented and stuff like that.
Right.
It's just I there are definitely some people who like, he love him till the day they die and are obsessed, but I just don't think I'm ever going to get to that level personally.
Right.
So, but it will be interesting with the movies we watch next week because they're not his stories.
Right.
So that'll be
That will be
interesting to
interesting.
see. Yeah. But
See, it maybe something a little different, or if it'll have the same complete style.
yeah.
But
So, but yeah, it was fun. I think especially after our really heavy week last week, it was nice to just have some fun movies to watch.
yeah, definitely. I definitely walked away thinking, oh, that was fun. Like it was better than I expected.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I was skeptical of these next 2 weeks, but I really enjoyed this. So I'm
Yes.
glad we did it.
Yes.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else. If you really are a Wes Anderson head, please voice make your voice be known. Let us know what you love about him as a filmmaker. If we should do, I know we're literally just on part 1, but we've already said that we're doing a part 2. So if you really want us to watch some of the other movies, let us know that and we will try to make that happen when we can. And if you saw the Phoenician Scheme, like let us know your thoughts too. We'd like to know. Because I won't be going to the theater for that one.
No.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else to add before we wrap?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, you guys know the gist. Please give us a nice rating on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. This will be up on YouTube because we are virtual tonight, so you'll be able to see us there. It's been a while.
Yes.
And we did get our equipment problems sorted. So when we're back together, we will both have mics and you will have better quality audio, even though it wasn't that bad, but that's a relief. It wasn't that big of a fix that we thought it might be. So that was good. But yeah, tell
Yes.
your friends about us, and thanks so much for listening.
Bye.